Hello everyone, today I wanted to share some more of my music unpopular opinions. This is going to be part 4. If you would like to skip right to my opinions, I will have a timestamp on the screen right here to where you guys can go to. And now on to a couple quick disclaimers. Number 1, these are just my opinions and I would love to hear some of yours down below. Just keep it respectful, please. Sorry for any background noise or dust particles that may occur throughout this video. I'm going to be reading off my phone as I always do. Lastly, if I have any notes that I forget to add, check down below. I might have a pinned comment. And let's get into it. The first thing that I've written down is that we should bring back radio edits. I'm sure that some people are still doing them, but they're just not as popular as they once were. As far as I'm aware, of course, I could totally be wrong. And I saw people talking about this a bit ago and I really agree with it. But basically, sometimes I listen to a song and it'll be like 6 minutes and the first half of the song is great. And then the rest of them is just them like riffing off on the back end. And it's like, I just don't want to hear that. Like, why didn't you cut the song shorter? And so some songs, it's like they didn't do 2 versions. So now I'm only stuck with that version. I have to skip past the song and just go to something else because you guys didn't cut it off at the time that I would have liked. So it really would be nice in that respect, right? And then also sometimes artists, it's like the song will be like 2.5 minutes and the song finally starts getting good towards the end, like it starts building up and then the song is already over. Because a lot of times now people are making songs for TikTok. As I said before, I can appreciate a good short song, but I don't want to go listen to your album and it has 15 tracks on it and every song is 2 minutes and the album's only like 32 minutes. Like, that's just absolutely egregious. Not every single song can be for TikTok. It's just like, let's go back into the studio and finish writing this entire thing out and really make it into something, because some songs deserve so much better than they actually get, and just so much more can be added to them in that respect. So I definitely think that we should bring back radio edits for sure. Next up, Spotify should have a feature where you can take a feature off of a song. There's so many songs that I enjoy and the main artist is doing their thing and then the feature comes on and they just ruin the song. And now it's like I have to go up and I have to search up a no rap version on YouTube or like whatever it is. And so it would just be really nice to have a feature where I can just completely take that off and just enjoy the song for whatever it is, because so many songs have just been ruined by a feature who adds completely nothing to the song, just make it so much worse. And then it's like I listen to the song and again I have to just skip past like the halfway mark because I don't want to hear the rest of it. Next up, I prefer the Glee version of Ain't No Way to Aretha Franklin's version. So I actually first heard of this song through Glee. I've loved this version for years. And then I heard Aretha's version, I think like in the past few years, something around there. And I just prefer the Glee version just because of Amber Riley's vocal on it. I just really like how she makes the song her own, like the power, the grit, the passion, all of it is just an amazing vocal performance. And so I just personally prefer the vocal on and what she does with it a little bit more. I think that Amber Riley is probably one of my favorite singers of all time. She just has a beautiful voice and so much power, and I really love what she does there. And obviously Aretha is one of the greatest singers of all time, a legend, very influential in her own right, just very, very talented. So all respect to her, the queen of soul, of course, but I just noticed that I tended to prefer the Glee version. Next up, Adele is overrated vocally. Before I continue on with this, I want to say that I think Adele's a great singer, great songwriter, really loved her last album, 30, was one of my favorite albums of 2021. So I saw this tweet a few weeks ago and it was like this card game and it was like, oh, this is gonna upend the whole party, and it was like, who can go vocally? So it was Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Beyonce, and Adele. And whenever I saw that tweet, I felt like the answer was pretty easy as to who could go vocally, and it was obviously going to be Adele. Then I go on the quotes, and a lot of people are saying that Beyonce can go and all this stuff, and I'm so tired of people not giving Beyonce her flowers as a vocalist. And there's so many people saying Beyonce can't sing anymore because she chose not to give us Halo for the 80th time. Like, you guys are just gonna have to get over that. Like, let's be honest. Because it's like, you don't have to sing a ballad to show that you are an amazing singer. Love on Top is one of the hardest songs to sing ever. You have all the key changes and just everything that she is doing vocally is something to marvel at and something that is so ridiculously impressive, and it's just a very challenging song overall. So the fact that people are like, oh, she can't sing because she's not giving us ballad after ballad after ballad, she wanted to do something different, and I honestly don't blame her. And so that's kind of something there. Her last album, Renaissance, was amazing in showing her vocals. By the way, you really got to hear her musicality and it was just really fascinating, and she just still showed that she has amazing vocal chops, and she's just choosing to show off her vocal vocals a little bit differently, especially on a song like Virgo's Groove and Plastic Off the Sofa, for example, which really showcase off her voice and what she's able to do. So I just don't get why people are saying Beyonce can't sing anymore because she's consciously choosing not to sing like she did at the beginning of her career. It's different, but it's still very skillful, and it's just really showing off her talent as a vocalist there. And like I said, Love on Top is one of the hardest songs to sing ever. You think Adele could sing Love on Top? No! Adele knows she couldn't sing Love on Top. Half the time when you watch Adele performances, she is off key on her own song and she's missing notes and whatever, and it is what it is. And not every vocalist is going to have amazing day after every day. Everyone has bad days, and that's definitely something to be noted. And every vocalist is going to have different weaknesses and strengths and ranges, and that's definitely something important to add to the conversation as well. And so it's just really wild to me to see like, oh, Adele's clearly a better singer than Beyonce. In what world is she a better singer than Beyonce? Beyonce could easily sing Adele's discography. Very easy. In her sleep, in fact. Like, she's just grown so much as a vocalist. In my opinion, she is one of the best singers of all time. She's really earned it. She's just really honed in her craft and worked so meticulously at it and showed us what she's able to do. And like I said, Adele couldn't even sing Love on Top, and Beyonce has so many vocally challenging songs all across his discography. Like, just look at the entire 4 album as a whole. Look at B-Day as a whole, for example, in terms of songs that are really challenging to sing. And so you look at that. Let's look at live performances. Like, let's look at everything, like, objectively. Beyonce is definitely a better singer than Adele, and this should not even be a debate. I feel like anybody who has listened to both of them really and knows music would agree that Beyonce is a better singer than Adele. She has so much more musicality, and she's just very skillful with what she's able to do. And so that's definitely something to be stated in that respect, and I'm just so sick of people not giving Beyonce her respect as a vocalist because she's definitely earned it as well. Another thing really quickly, stop saying Beyonce overrated. Like, it's getting so tired at this point. Every single time I go on Twitter, I see a tweet, oh, Beyonce's overrated and this and that, and it's just so irritating to say. Like, people really think that they're going so out of the box. Beyonce's overrated. There's a lot of people who don't like Beyonce. If you don't like Beyonce's music, then that is one thing. Not everyone's music is going to appeal to every listener. But some people just don't like her as a person, and so it's just weird, some of the stuff that people say about her, and so it's just really telling, like, you guys aren't doing what you think you're doing. And on the Beyonce overrated thing, Beyonce has earned her acclaim and all that stuff for a reason. She gives us quality project after quality project. The woman does not have a bad album in her entire discography, and just what she's able to do, like I said, Renaissance, the album is incredible, best album of this year so far, so she's not overrated in my personal opinion. She earned that respect from the legends who came before her for a reason, because she studied and she puts in the work, and she just really knows how to give a great show, a great album. She just is really talented, and she's not overrated. So that's what I wanted to state there. And then next up, let's get into Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey real quick. I feel like I shouldn't have to go into this because Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey are two of the best singers of all time. They are my top two in terms of that. And so the fact that anyone is saying either two of them would go, that's just absolutely egregious. And the fact that I saw people quoting it with, oh, Whitney has already left, referring to the fact that she passed away, that is just really disgusting to say. Why would you say that? I don't get why people love to disrespect Whitney Houston. She was called the voice for a reason. Like, her range, her head voice, like her sheer power of it all, the way that she took a song and made it into her own. Like, Whitney is very influential. She is a legend in her own right, so I'm really tired of people going on and disrespecting Whitney Houston and her contributions to music. She is a very gifted singer with impeccable vocal technique. Now let's talk about Mariah Carey. If you've watched enough of my videos, you know that Mariah is my favorite artist of all time for multiple reasons. Incredible discography, amazing songwriter, and a top-notch vocalist, of course. And so, into the vocals, Mariah has been so insanely influential in terms of her vocals alone. Like, if we look at a song like Vision of Love, which was her debut single, it influenced Beyonce, for example. She said that's what made her want to sing, as well as countless other singers as well. And that's just her debut single. The rest of her career, she's just been able to accomplish so much in terms of that. And she is very talented vocally. As I said before, I don't know anyone with better musicality than Mariah Carey has. She is just so creative in terms of that, all the riffs and runs that she does. And, you know, you listen to the background vocals on her songs and the vocal layering. Like I said before, she's the best in terms of that, in my personal opinion. And she's just very creative in terms of that, so that's definitely cool there. And then we have the whole Rizzle Register thing, which is very cool. She said that she was inspired by Minnie Riperton in that regard, so definitely shout out to Minnie Riperton there. And Mariah has her own style to it, and she's just very creative in that register in terms of the clarity in her voice that never gets old, hearing that as well, and her consistency consistency there, her musicality, all that is delightful to listen to in just the whistle register. But she has a very wide range as well, and she can hit some really low notes that are super impressive. And she is your favorite singer's favorite singer. I can almost guarantee you that. She has been so influential. She is a legend in her own right, and she has just been a pioneer in so many different ways vocally. Watching her live performances or listening to an album from her, you're just absolutely mind blown how one person is able to do that, and just the skill that she has in terms of that is just absolutely insane. And she probably has the hardest discography to sing in popular music, and if you don't believe me, I would highly recommend you check out her first 2 albums, because those are the ones where she shows off her vocals the most, and it's just absolutely insane with like the melisma and the runs and all of that. And I feel like I really learned a lot of techniques through Mariah's music, so I'm very thankful for that in that regard. But Emotions, as people said, probably the hardest song for a female singer to sing, because you know, you have all of the whistles, and then even if you take those out, she is doing a lot of belts, and it's just a very complex song to execute, and she has many of those throughout her entire catalog. And we talk about Fantasy off of the Daydream album for a second as well. Like, so many challenging songs, and a lot of the times people don't even understand how hard her songs are to sing until you see someone else covering them, and you just realize the complexity in terms of what she's able to do with her vocals. Just an incredible discography. And I definitely feel like if you wanted to get into the best singers of all time, I feel like Mariah's discography is absolute required listening, because she has been so influential, as I was stating. And you kind of listen and you can pick up on like what other singers picked up on, and just the creativity, and just it's really, really fascinating to listen to her discography. If you've not listened to it already, you definitely should. So she's just very skilled in terms of that, her versatility, as well in terms of the genres that she can sing and what she's able to do with her voice, her agility, which is like how fast she's able to move in between notes, and like her transitions and all that kind of stuff. And she just makes it look so easy. Like, if you go and watch her performances, and I'm just in awe every single time at what she's able to do vocally, and she is just such a gifted singer once again. And the fact that some people feel so comfortable disrespecting Mariah does not sit right with me at all. Another thing that irritates me is whenever people are like, oh, are we talking about Mariah now, or are we talking about Mariah in her prime? She is the only singer that you guys do this to. You do not do this to any of her other contemporaries. You hold her to this impossible standard that you don't hold them to. No singer is going to sound the same as they did whenever they started. Voices change, things happen, it's life, it is what it is. Mariah is still an amazing singer though, and she can outsing most of your faves, and so I don't understand how people get the audacity to come for her vocal ability. Like, she has gotten praise from the people who came before her for a reason, and she continuously gets praise for a reason, because she is really that incredible at what she does. And you just really have to listen to her discography to understand everything that she's capable of. And so some people are hating on her now, but whenever she unfortunately passes away, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, I love Mariah, blah, blah, blah. But whenever I look at your tweets, you were saying, oh, she couldn't sing anymore, and you were saying all these negative things towards her, and you see how you're switching up, you see how you're contradicting yourself. It's just something that's hard for me to fathom, that you would say Mariah is going. Mariah is definitely not going, and she's really been able to show longevity and creativity throughout the discography and everything. So it's just insane that people say that, and some people still do not give her due as a vocalist. Like, that's really insane. Not giving Mariah Carey her flowers as a vocalist when she's influenced your fave doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense, and that's definitely something I had to state. But yeah, Mariah, my favorite artist of all time. And it's like, if you really know music and you know the most skilled singers of all time, you automatically know that Adele's going. If you prefer Adele over the other people, then that's fine, and that's your personal opinion. I can understand it in that respect. But to say that Adele is a better singer than the other 3 women on this list is just absolutely ridiculous, and it's false. Adele would agree that she's not as good as the other 3 singers. I mean, come on, Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and Beyonce? Come on, like we have to be serious at this point. I just see this conversation happening all the time on Twitter, especially people comparing Adele and Beyonce, and it's just so tired. Why does this keep going on? Why do you guys keep propping up Adele? Like, some people, they're just setting up Adele to be dragged. Some people are doing that, absolutely. But some people genuinely believe that. Next up, we have to get better interviewers for these artists. So many of them do not even do their research. How are you gonna interview someone on their album when you haven't even listened to the album? That doesn't make any sense to me. So many of them come unprepared, or they're just so blatantly disrespectful, or they just ask the same question over and over and over again. And it's just like, I hate that they're getting these opportunities and not people who have actually taken the time to really craft meaningful and creative questions. And it's like, we just have to get better interviewers, because I'm tired of seeing some interviewers. It's like, why do we keep giving them a platform? Like, they just have to go in general. Next up, I hate whenever people slow down a song whenever they're going to cover it. Like, the song that they're covering is something that's so upbeat and fun to listen to, and then they immediately slow it down and they suck all the soul of it. Like, why do we keep doing that? Sometimes I think that it can work quite nicely. Like, someone will slow down a song and I'm like, I didn't think about it that way, and I can appreciate the interpretation now. But some songs, it's like, really, like, did we have to absolutely do this? An example that came to my mind is whenever Taylor Swift covered September by Earth, Wind & Fire. She completely sucked the entire soul out of that song. It just makes no sense for the kind of record that September is. A very light and upbeat and fun song that really brings a smile across your face every single time you listen to it. And so I just don't necessarily understand why you would choose to do it that way. But yeah, if you watch enough of my videos, you know that I really do love Taylor Swift, one of my favorite artists ever, but the way that she did that song was she just did it wrong. She just did it wrong. We just should not have done that song that way. And I feel like we just need to take each song case by case, and not every song needs to be slowed down. Let's just look at it objectively and say, should I slow this song down? Like, just really think about it before you do. Next up, Discipline by Janet Jackson is a good album. I see so much slander for this album all the time, and I just don't feel like it's as bad as people say it is. Is it one of her best albums? Absolutely not. I would probably rank it towards the bottom of her discography, but I do think that it's overhated. I think that we have some amazing tracks on there. We have Feedback, an absolute banger, and then we also have Can't Be Good, the one with Missy Elliott, the title track. We have Curtains as well, and so I think that it's a good album, and it's definitely something where it's like I can appreciate it for what it is. Some people say that they feel disconnected from this album because Janet didn't write any of the songs on it, and I didn't know that at first. Like, whenever I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, it felt like a typical Janet album to me. I could really feel her energy on it, and so when I found out that she didn't write any of the songs on it, I'm like, that's definitely something interesting to think about. 20YO, for example, is just an album I do not really care for that much. I like about 3 of the songs in there. Everything else, just not really for me. And whenever I listened to it, I didn't think that she wrote any of the songs in it. Turns out that she did, but I felt such a disconnect from the record. It just didn't feel like Janet to me. Like I said, Discipline feels exactly like her to me, but she didn't write any of the songs. So it's really interesting in that regard. And yeah, like I said, I would have Discipline ranked towards the bottom of her discography, but I do enjoy it whenever I hit play. Next up, I do not understand how MGK has all this popularity. I don't get how he has fans. Like, anytime I see people post like a link to a song on like Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, I'm just like, oh yeah, he has fans. Like, I kind of forgot, because all the music that I've heard, all these little snippets that I've heard, are some of the worst music of all time, and I am not exaggerating whenever I say that. He's like 31 talking about kissing under the bleachers. Like, grow up. He's not a good songwriter. He can barely hold a note. Like, I just do not understand why people enjoy his music or whatever. I feel like there's a lot of other people in his genre that are way better than he is, so I don't really get it, and he's a weird person overall. He said some really terrible things, so definitely go look that up on your own time. Next up, some celebrities need to not be online. If you constantly find yourself arguing with people on Twitter and you're always having some controversy, and every single time people think about you, it's due to your controversies and you being problematic and not your actual music, then you need to recalibrate your line of thinking as a musician. Twitter can be fun, sure, but it can also be very toxic. If you know it's not the place for you, if you know that you are just really having a hard time like dealing with everything on there, then there's no problem with stepping away from that and having someone else run their account. There's so many people who have ran their careers into the ground because they didn't know how to turn the phone off. Social media is very toxic. It's not for everybody. I can't imagine what it's like dealing with it on that scale for sure as well. And some people just have to turn off the phone because it's like, why do we keep beefing with people? Why do we keep doing this? Just stop. Some celebrities need to understand the art of being quiet. Not everything you're thinking has to be said. If you want to say it to a friend or something. Don't go on Twitter and just don't do all of this stuff. Like, we just have to get off of this. Like, it's just really getting irritating at this point. Next thing that I have written down is some people just need to stand in being a hater. And what I mean by that is sometimes you just don't like an artist, and it is absolutely okay to say that. Like, some people, I see them praising a certain artist like 30% of the time maybe, and then the other 70 is them hating on every single thing that they do. And then whenever they get called out on it, like, oh, just say that you don't like them. Oh, well, I never said that I don't like them. I actually do like them, blah, blah, blah. It's one thing for you to hold them accountable for things that they've done wrong. Absolutely, I feel like that should be a given. But when you're hating on literally almost every single thing that they do, like one week you're praising a song, another week you are demolishing their entire discography and their legacy and just hating on like small little nitpicks of stuff that they do, then just admit that you don't like them. If I go on your account and I search up that artist and 9 out of the 10 tweets are negative, then that's definitely telling me something. Like, just admit that you don't like them. It's not even that hard. Like, it's one thing if you're separating the art from the artist, you know, if you like their music but you don't like them as a person, whatever. But stop claiming that you like them when you really don't, or like there's only like little parts that you like of them. Like, I absolutely cannot stand it. Bashing them one day, praising them the next. Like, just be honest about how you feel. Stop trying to hide it. Oh, I really do like them. Just say that you don't. Like, it's really that easy, I promise you. Next up, if you're talking about Mariah the Scientist on social media, say that. Do not just say Mariah, because I'm going to think that you're talking about Mariah Carey. And a lot of other people are going to think that as well, for obvious reasons. And I see people doing this all the time, and I'm like, you have to clarify, because now we're all getting confused. Next up, Mariah Carey's covers are always better than the original because of her musicality, her talent, what she adds into the song, and she just makes it so much better and truly elevates the song. There's so many times when I've listened to a song that she covered and then I'll go back and listen to the original and I'm severely disappointed, and that just shows how much she added and her gift as a vocalist as well. Next up, a lot of the main pop girls now are not giving what some of you say that they are giving. Every time I look at a live performance from them, it's horrible because they can't sing, and it's like they don't even want to go to a vocal coach to improve. Why would you give horrible live performance after horrible live performance and not say, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need to go to a vocal coach. Maybe I need to do something differently in terms of how I'm taking care of my voice. The albums aren't good. It's skip after skip after skip, generic overall in terms of that, or they're problematic, and they just don't have the star power. A lot of them do not have the star power. They are ridiculously boring now, and I definitely feel like the standards have been lowered now. Like, you look at the 90s and you look at the main pop girls then and just what they were able to do and their star status and discography and how iconic they've been and all that, and it's just so different now, and it's just a completely different thing. Also, sometimes I feel like anybody gets called a main pop girl, and I feel like there's several things you need to be inside of that category. So I would definitely say, you know, some critical acclaim. You need to have star power. You have to have discography. You have to have the personality to back it up as well, which kind of goes hand in hand with star power or whatever, but hopefully you get what I mean in terms of that. There's like multiple things that go into there. I feel like your albums have to sell well, the singles do as well. You do a concert, it's going to sell out, and just people just really enjoy you so much. Like, you walk into a room and people are just in awe of you. Like, they are just, you know, shocked by what you're able to do in like the best way, and kind of like stuff like that. Like, there's so many different things that go into being a main pop girl. But I see some of the people you are saying are main pop girls, and I'm like, where did we lose the plot? Because it's like their album is certified aluminum on the Billboard 200 and they're a main pop girl. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Their performances aren't good, like I've already mentioned before. Their concerts aren't selling out. They don't have the star power around them. Like, all these different things. Like, they're not meeting the qualifications, and now we're getting a main pop girl. Like, that's not what a main pop girl is. Like, can we stop redefining it and go back and look at the pop girls of 10, 20, 30 years ago and saying, are they meeting up to it in certain aspects or whatever? And so that's definitely something that I need to say, because anybody can call it a main pop girl. I'm like, I feel like we forgot the definition of what that is. The next thing that I have written down is some artists just have to be original. Why your entire career ripping off somebody else? You know, sometimes you listen to someone's first album and it's like you hear their influences, but as they keep going, they kind of grow out of that for the most part, and they find their own sound. You might hear a little bit of influence, but they have fully realized themselves as an artist. But some people, it's like they're fully content with ripping off someone's entire sound, album after album after album. There's no artistic growth. They do not care to do that at all. They're ripping off someone's stylings all the way throughout as well. And it's like, why are you comfortable doing that? Like, why not try to do your own thing? I understand that a lot of things have already been done. There's only so much originality that you can have and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like you should at least try to be original. At least try to have your own flair to it. You know, I'm all for paying homage, you know, in terms of outfits or performance or something like that. I definitely think that's cool. I think that the legends deserve their flowers. But if that's your entire career, why is that what we're doing? Like, it's just something that I've really been thinking about, and something that really irritates me, because I hate whenever people don't attempt to be original and are fine completely ripping someone off. Like, it gets stale after a while. Try to do your own thing at least. But that is going to be it for my unpopular opinions today. I would love to know some of yours down below in the comments, of course. If you wanted to see more videos like this, I will have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go to, and that takes you to the other videos that I've done on my unpopular opinions. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a like down below. Helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You can subscribe right down below if you want to see more videos like this. If you hit the bell, you get a notification to your phone when I post so you're not miss when new videos come out. The first link down below in the description is going to be my second channel. Check me out on there if you want to see more. I'm also going to have my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Spotify if you'd like to follow me, as well as links to educate you guys on important situations. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.